So this week, Jacqui, you wrote about community living. Now, I think all of us who have gone to like Overseas U or any have had some experience with community living, right? Living like students. But we're not talking about that per se. So, okay, what is modern community living that doesn't make me think of like, people who don't do the dishes?
Well, obviously there are similarities. I think it has evolved from what you know as hostel living. I suppose you could say that co-living today is like an upgraded, upmarket, lifestyle team version of hostel living for working adults.
Okay.
It comes with more things, of course. If you notice some of the bigger co-living space operators, they offer things like gym, swimming pool. They have their laundry room, have a cafeteria.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more lifestyle based. Yeah, you get to get your own room.
Yeah.
Unlike living in a hostel where you may be sharing rooms. This one you get your own room, your own washroom, your toilets are inside. It's a comfort of a hotel. Yeah.
But what you share is the common spaces, right? So
Yes.
like the living rooms, the kitchen.
Yes.
But here's the thing. How is that different from like what people are doing now where they rent a room in maybe their apartment, because there's a lot of those, right?
Yes.
And you still do share like a co-living space. So what's the distinct difference between a whole group of people and like I'm just like sharing somebody's one room in somebody's apartment?
Okay, this is like, I would again say it's a upmarket version of it.
Right.
It's like living in a hotel.
Right.
Yeah. Whereby if you go to rent a room, let's say somewhere in PJ in a house, you get a very basic room, basic household facilities, a kitchen and all that. Whereby here you get, your kitchen is nicely done up. You have a large living area.
Yeah.
And also you have other facilities like a swimming pool, a gym, or a games room. And it also, most of these operators also creates events to create that community. So they organize things like, could be a game night, it could be an outing whereby you go out and eat durians, find the best durians around. Or they also have guests from overseas, so they also bring them around, a tour, KL or something like that.
So there's that element of it, right? That community kind of element that
Yes.
sort of helps people find connection.
Yes.
But of course, the reason why co-living is now being an option is because housing is expensive.
Yes.
So is that the trend that a lot of developers are sort of seeing?
There are a number of developers that I know of that are talking about building co-living spaces, because as you can see from our experiences with co-working back like 2-3 years ago, it was just starting, and now you're seeing quite a number. I mean, just across the road from us, you have a co-living space right there, a co-working space over there.
Correct.
Yeah. So this is something that will catch up eventually. I think from what we gather from the operators that we spoke to, majority of them are in their 20s and 30s. So
Very young.
Young, yes. You're looking at people who are just starting out in life, perhaps are not ready to commit to buying a place or can't afford to buy a place. Because if you compare a traditional lease and a co-living, there's a big difference, because when you rent a place on your own, you have to pay more money upfront. So that's 2 months plus 1 month deposit. You have to worry about furnishing, utilities, bills that you have to pay, plus you have to commit to 1 to 2 years kind of lease. Whereby in co-living, everything is included. You just bring your suitcase and yourself and you move in.
I think selling co-living as an idea is hard enough during normal times. We're not
Yes.
living in normal times. I mean, we're sitting so far apart, but it's like we're not living in normal times. In this era where, everybody is fiercely sort of like protecting their own space and everything, all the operators you talk to, in the era of COVID-19, is co-living even still a thing?
They actually believe that, yes, it is. Actually, the operator I spoke to actually said that their occupancy rate right now is higher than it was before the MCO. Because
Right.
I think the factors that drive demand for co-living are still in place. People going back to work will still need a place to stay. Cost of housing remains a concern. So all these things and the need for social interaction is still there. I mean, we can say that yes, social distancing and all that, but if you look at restaurants right now, it's packed. You go to the park, it's packed. You go to the shopping mall, it's packed. So life always will find a way to resume, try to go back to the way it was. I think it's the same for people. They need that social interaction as well.
Yeah, okay. You, of course, cover a lot of property. We touched a little bit on this sort of earlier, but a lot of the developers that you're talking to now, are they adding like co-living spaces into their blueprints?
Yes, there are a few that I know of that are talking about it, or they're considering adding co-living spaces to it. As to how big of a scale, I can't say it just yet. I think living in a city, big city like this can be quite hectic and lonely. And then, people will want some form of interaction because when you're working out, especially when you're starting out, you spend a lot of your time working because you're trying to climb the ladder. Most of your time is focused on work. You don't have the time to go out and socialize. So in this way, when you're living in a co-living space, you get to interact with people who are a lot like you.
For more on the stories, pick up a copy of The Edge Weekly at all good newsstands.